Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in our AEW series in TEW2020. I, of course, am Daredevil, bringing you all of the crazy live action here today, as it is the first Dynamite of 2020 after the big Dynamite Grand Slam that happened last week, including seeing all three championships in AEW retained. We are going to have to see what happens next heading forward towards Revolution. Our Revolution pay-per-view coming up at the end of this month. In-game, that is. And we'll have to see what all gets built up for that. But before we get into Dynamite, we are going to do our little unofficial dark. So we open up with a Martina promo. Just kind of hyping herself up. She's out partying. She's out having fun. Andrea Campos kind of jamming out with her a little bit there. She's just really excited to be here. She's got a match coming up here on Dark. 2,550 people in attendance, by the way. I got to figure out what's going on with my attendance thing because it keeps telling me that I'm supposed to be getting about 3,000 something. So I'm booking these like somewhat bigger fields, and then I go in and it's like 2,500. So I got to figure out if it's like an economy thing or what. But anyway, so yeah, Martina's doing the promo thing here. She has a match. And she defeats Selena De La Renta in 7:29. I don't know, sure, by submission, whatever. 40 rating for the match, not too bad. Martina with a 38, De La Renta with a 36. Pretty good match for Dark here. So Martina gets the victory there. After that, match that has terrible wrestling noise. It's the crowd heat. Gets 41 rating as Robbie Eagles defeats Lee Johnson in 7:09 by pinfall. 40 from Robbie Eagles, 34 from Lee Johnson. Nice little match there. We got tag team action that sees Team C Stars, Delmi Exo and Ashley Vox defeat Crazy Mary Dobson and Karen Q in 801 when Vox pinned Karen Q. Q with a 36, Dobson with a 32, Exo with a 31, and Vox with a 32. Dobson and Q aren't going to be like a tag team heading forward. I was just kind of like, I wanted two heels to go up against Team C Stars, and these two weren't really doing much of anything, so that's kind of what we did there. And then our main event of Dark gets 32 rating as Sean Dean defeats Tony Deppen in 6:59 by submission. 33 from Deppen, 22 from Sean Dean, who was really off his game, which kind of sucks, but, it is what it is. So there you go. There's our rundown of Dark there. Few matches from our talents who we're trying to slowly get over on Dark itself. We open up Dynamite with a 70 rated promo as we have Chris Jericho in the ring. Says that he is tired of looking over his shoulder, waiting, as Moxley comes running after him. He wants Moxley suspended from AEW. He wants him out of here. He's tired of being chased week after week by him, all that kind of stuff. This brings out Steven Regal, who comes out and says that he doesn't care if Moxley's chasing Jericho. In fact, he actually finds humor in it. He likes the idea that Moxley's chasing Jericho everywhere. And Jericho's like, how dare you treat the face of AEW like this? How dare you treat me like this? I can't believe it. And Regal's like, well, guess what, Mr. Face of AEW? You're going to get your revenge. Jericho's like, what are you talking about? Regal says, you'll get a chance to have your revenge at Revolution because it is official as of right now. It will be you, Chris Jericho, going one-on-one with Jon Moxley. And the crowd pops loud as Jericho's just like, you can't do this to me! You can't do this to me! And Regal just drops the mic and walks off, so 70 rated promo there as we find out that it is official. Our first official match signed for Revolution is going to be Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley one-on-one, which should be a huge matchup for sure. So there you go. Nice hot way to start off Dynamite. After that, we get the Thrill Seekers defeating SoCal Uncensored, SCU, in 10:17 when Everett pinned Daniels with a 630 senton. 50 rating for the match. 53 from Trevor Lee, 50 from Everett, 34 from Christopher Daniels, and 34 from Scorpio Sky. So there you go. Thrill Seekers, try to figure out where they're at in AEW after losing the tag title match a few weeks back on Dynamite. They're trying to find themselves again, and they get a victory here over SCU. So we'll have to see what's next for the Thrill Seekers heading forward. Then after that, 35 rated segment. I didn't expect this to do great. I just, wanted to do something here, and I didn't want to keep having the Dynasty cut the promos. So Strickland and Jurassic Express have a promo here, just kind of talking about their issues with the Dynasty recently. And Strickland, calls out MJF, says he wants a one-on-one match with MJF, but he knows MJF is too much of a coward to accept that. So he's, they're issuing kind of a 6-man tag challenge in the near future as well. 35 rating here. Didn't do great, but it is what it is. So we'll have to see what happens next with these two sides, I guess, really in this feud. Then after that, terrible matchup to see Sakara Shida defeat Alex Crawley in 728 by pinfall with a Tamashi no 3 count. 48 rating for the match, 53 from Shida, 31 from Crawley. Nice little decisive victory here for Shida. After the match, Ashley Lane comes out. Only got 41, which is kind of surprising. Ashley Lane comes out after the match and says that she may have defeated Angel Williams a couple weeks ago on Dynamite, but Shida is still not in Ashley Lane's league. She doesn't belong here. She needs to go back to Japan or wherever she came from, and Ashley Lane will be the one that sends her packing once and for all. So, because Ashley Lane continuing to pretend that she's the queen here in AEW and that she, that this is her land and everybody's her subjects, and she's apparently gonna expel her from her land, I guess, so to speak. Then after that, backstage segment, this is the Young Bucks. They're kind of talking about how they defeated Private Party. They gave Private Party some respect. So that was, a hell of a battle, but they want to get back to what they were focusing on before Private Party so rudely interrupted them. And that is becoming the AEW World Tag Team Champions. So they are issuing a challenge to the Dark Order for a tag title match. We'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But we get a 49 rating for this segment. So pretty good stuff there. As the Young Bucks are officially kind of issuing a challenge for the Tag Team Champions. Then, in a poor matchup, The Blade defeats Dalton Castle in 9:47 by a pinfall with a flatliner. 54 rated for the match. 51 from Blade, 45 from Dalton Castle. Nice little back and forth match here that sees the undefeated, I believe he's still undefeated, member of the Dark Order here, The Blade, getting a victory. I do have things for him in the near future, do not worry, other than just him coming out and beating everybody week after week, or, when he gets booked. I do have plans for him, but I have to get to that point, and it's going to be like after Revolution, so I got to get to that point, but he's picking up a victory here over Dalton Castle, looking impressive while doing so. Then after that, we go to commercial, we come back, and the Bunny's in the ring. She kind of stayed out there after, because she accompanied the Blade to the ring, so the Blade won his match, and he went to the back, and Bunny kind of stayed out there, and Rosemary is at ringside too, as you can see there. But she cuts promo. She says that she, obviously this is kind of like a creepy Bunny way, so I don't know exactly what kind of a creepy Bunny promo we cut here, but she basically says that she's, that she successfully defeated Kaylee Ray last week on Dynamite, and that nobody can take the AEW Women's World Championship from her. And that is when we get the interruption of Alexis Kaufman. She comes out and she says that you say that nobody can defeat you, that nobody can stop you here in AEW, but you're looking across the ring right now as someone who has only lost one match in this company so far, and I got revenge for that loss, because she's obviously talking about how Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defeated her and a couple months back, but she was able to get the ultimate victory in that feud. She says that if anybody deserves a title shot around here, it's me. So she's kind of making it clear that she wants a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship that the Bunny has right now. We will have to see if that ends up happening. And if so, when that ends up happening. But 54 rated segments, pretty good stuff there. pretty good from these two here. Good to see that that they can have this kind of a segment rating. Then after that, we get a rematch from this ongoing feud right here between Frankie Kazarian and Angelico, who, Angelico's trying to prove himself to Frankie Kazarian in the AEW world. They have a great back and forth matchup here that goes 10:46, and Frankie Kazarian gets the victory in this one over Angelico by pinfall with Flux Capacitor. 58 rating for the match, 56 from Kazarian, 54 from Angelico. Gained heat for the storyline. So now these two are technically 1-1 against each other. Because remember, Angelico won the original match a few weeks back, which kind of kickstarted this whole thing because Angelico, Kazarian wasn't exactly thrilled about losing, but at the same time he, kind of saw a little bit of, he he has a little bit of a, I guess, quote unquote respect for Angelico. He's, kind of like, all right, this kid can go. I can, get down with that. But rematch here sees Frankie Kazarian get the victory over Angelico in a really good matchup. And so, I mean, they're 1-1 against each other. So you got to imagine the rubber match will be happening at some point in the near future. By the way, because I forgot to mention it in an earlier segment, commentators are kind of talking about tonight's show a little bit. And they do mention that tonight's main event is going to be a huge one. It wasn't announced really ahead. It was announced, like, I didn't announce it last week on Dynamite, but it was announced kind of on social media the last couple days that it will be a tag team matchup featuring Brian Cage teaming up with Adam Cole against Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. So, despite the fact that Page, wants to forge his own path here in AEW and didn't want to be associated with the Elite, he's going to be associated with the Elite here tonight because he's going to be teaming up with Kenny Omega against Adam Cole and Brian Cage. Then after that, we get a interview from Mercedes. That's kind of the reason why I didn't have this advance the storyline, because I knew it wasn't going to be great. But again, trying to get Andrea Ocampo a little bit better, because I know if she gets the popularity, I know she'll be really good in that interview role. She's got really good stats for it. It's just that popularity keeps dragging her down. But Mercedes has an interview. She says that she defeated Io Shirai last week on Dynamite, and that she's just going to continue to rack up the wins until she is seen as the boss of the women's division, and she gets her shot at, her eventual shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. She says that she's not worried about what 3 Elite might be considering with coming after her, because she's defeated Io, and she has no problem defeating Mayu and Kairi whenever they want to step in the ring with her as well. 39 rating here. It is what it is. I did have to change this segment slightly because I was going to have Mercedes kind of come out or I was going to have Io be involved in this and kind of show a little bit of have them have a little bit of an interesting little respect-ish kind of angle here. But then the day before Dynamite, Io Shirai got hurt at Stardom and is out for a few weeks, so I couldn't do that. I could have put Mayu or Kairi in Io's spot, but it wouldn't have made as much sense, seeing as how, Mercedes and Io just fought each other, but that's fine. We'll go with this and go from there. But Mercedes, saying that she's still focused on beating everybody in the women's division here in AEW. Then after that, another interview happens. Gets a 38 rating. Not a great one, but, it is what it is. As we get Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She has a matchup next, and she is asked by Tony Schiavone ahead of time why she did what she did last week. Why did she cost Kaylee Ray the Women's World Championship? Britt Baker kind of looks at Schiavone in disgust and says, I don't have to give you an answer. I don't have to give anyone an answer. I did what I did for reasons that only I will know, and I don't plan on telling any of you. All that you need to know is that Kaylee Ray is not going to be the Women's World Champion, thanks to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. 38 rating here. We'll see for the storyline, but that's fine. But yeah, so Baker refusing to tell us why she cost Kaylee Ray the Women's World Championship. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Then she goes out to the ring and she has a 34 rated matchup. Holy crap, this did not do well. Terrible matchup. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defeats Shotzi Blackheart 822 by pinfall. 34 rating, 31 from Britt Baker, who was really off her game. 30 from Shotzi Blackheart, who seemed off her game. Match cooled the crowd a little. What in the hell happened here? Just inconsistency. They did not deliver. It was an off night for both of them, unfortunately. So that sucks, but, it is what it is. But Baker gets the victory by pinfall, even if it is kind of a rough-ish match. She does get the victory by pinfall, and we'll have to see if we ever do find out why she cost Kaylee Ray the Women's World title last week. Then after that, we get the best friends hanging out backstage. Chuck, Trent, Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander. When all of a sudden they get jumped by the Prisoners of War and Wheeler Yuta, because apparently Wheeler Yuta is just hanging out with the Prisoners of War more now. Remember, he did come out and was joining them in that 6-man tag match a few weeks back. And now apparently he's just hanging out with them, I guess. I don't know if he's like part of their group or if he's just hanging out with them a lot or what, but Macklin, Blake, and Yuta with the attack on the best friends. Obviously they're not really doing, like attacking Statlander at all, but Statlander's just calling for help as OC, Trent, and Chuck get beaten down by these three. 40 rating, which is pretty good. I expected it to be a little bit lower, so I will take a 40. I'm not going to complain about that. Then after that, Jon Moxley with a bit of a quick victory over QT Marshall in 544 by pinfall to Moxicity. 69 rating for the match. Nice. 71 from Mox, 33 from QT Marshall. Or QT Marshall, as you will. This was just basically Moxley looking good, getting a strong victory, a decisive victory for him, keeping his momentum going. Now, especially now, as we are a few weeks out from his one-on-one matchup with Chris Jericho at Revolution. Speaking of which, the Inner Circle jumped Moxley after the match. They're beating him down, 3-on-1 attack. When surprisingly out of nowhere, the Thrill Seekers make the save. Andrew Ever and Trevor Lee, who we saw earlier in the night, defeat SCU. They come running out and help fight off Inner Circle, kind of chasing them off. And Mox is kind of surprised, like, what are you guys doing here? So 52 rating here for this as Everett and Lee come make the save for Moxley here. So we'll have to see what that ends up leading to, but the Inner Circle chased off by the Thrill Seekers. Then, in a 58 rated segment that sees Tony Schiavone underperforming, so maybe I shouldn't be putting Schiavone in these. I might have to just not do interview segments for a little bit or something. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. Because even Schiavone's underperforming on this one. So I got to figure out who I can have as an interview at this point. Nevertheless, Pac is interviewed about last week about his successful title defense against Matt Sydal. He says that Matt Sydal is a hell of an opponent, but he's still the AEW World Champion and plans to be for quite some time. This brings out Jay Lethal. Lethal comes out and says that he doesn't really think that Pac's going to be a world champion for a long time because he knows, just like everyone else here knows, that the only reason Pac is a world champion is because he is ducking Jay Lethal. Pac's just kind of flabbergasted by this and is like, ducking you? I've never heard anything of sort of a challenge from you. Lethal's like, when you're Jay Lethal, you just should automatically get title matches. Jay Lethal is the present and future of this business. I should be automatically getting title matches whenever the hell I want. And Pac is like, yeah, you should totally be getting title matches whenever the hell you want. Hey, when's the last time you won a match? Because the last couple of matches he's had, he lost to Moxley and he lost to MJF as well. And Lethal's like, that's not important. You need to respect Jay Lethal and give me a shot at the AEW World Championship. And Pac is like, I'll think about it. But meanwhile, I think you gotta watch your back really quick. And Lethal spins around really quick because, he's still running from Samoa Joe and nobody's there. Lethal's just like, all right, yeah, Lethal turns back around and suddenly Pac is right in his face, just staring face to face with him before he lifts up the AEW World Championship. Um, so there you go. So Pac and Lethal. I mean, it seems like we might be heading towards a Pac and Jay Lethal matchup in the near future for the world title. We'll have to see. But 58 rating here, not too bad. As Lethal still kind of showing that he's still afraid of Samoa Joe as well. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Then we get a rundown of next week's Dynamite. 46 rating. It's to be expected. As we find out that Matt Sydal, the man who challenged and lost, who challenged for but was unsuccessful in his bid to become the AEW World Champion last week, will be going one-on-one with Lee Moriarty next week on Dynamite. And a huge announcement, as it will be the Inner Circle taking on Jon Moxley and the Thrill Seekers next week in a 6-man tag team matchup. So that should be a big match for Dynamite in the main event. There's also, it's also just kind of like a couple of other people who will be in action as well, but it's, it's not like any major matches. Like, these are the only 2 matches that are really announced. Everything else is like, we'll hear from this person and this person will be in action and all that. Like, we'll hear from the Dynasty next week and we'll see Tennille Dashwood in action and stuff like that. So 46 rating here for this. Then we get our main event, which gets a 64 rating. Not too bad. I'll take it. It's not gonna be great, but it's still pretty good. As in a decent matchup, Adam Cole and Brian Cage defeat Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega in 1408 when Cole gets Page to submit to a figure 4 leg lock. We'll say there's some underhanded tactics there. Britt Baker's been accompanying Adam Cole recently, so we'll say that Baker, like scratched the eyes of Page or something like that, and Page was already kind of in some pain and submitted to the figure 4 leg lock before Omega could break it up. 64 rating here. Page was the weak link. He only had 36 in-ring performance. 61 from Cage, 64 from Cole and Omega. Gained heat for the Omega and Cage feud, as well as the Cole and Page feud. So there you go. But yeah, 64 rating's not bad for the main event of Dynamite here. And the show gets 64 rating, which I can't complain about at all. 40 increased popularity everywhere we go. There we go there. Well, not everywhere we go, I guess. It was 46 regions, so it's probably like everywhere outside of America. But hey, I'll still take a 64. It still keeps us above 59 popularity in the Southeast, which is what we need to do. As we continue to build the AEW roster 1 year in now, and get it to a point where we can be putting on bangers after bangers. And go from there. It's obviously a little rough still. Trying to have really great matches and great shows over when the stats are what they are at this point, but I'm not complaining, honestly. Like, it makes it even more fun. Like, it would have been more disappointing if, like, not disappointing, but it would have been like not as much of a fun challenge if, like, starting off in this mod over, like, everybody was like 70 80 popularity and they were absolutely killing it. We were having like 90 80 90 rated shows week after week. Like, that would have been boring. Like, I like the idea that I have to keep building people up, that I have to keep like building everyone up and all that stuff. Like, I like the fact that like Hangman Adam Page still does like a 36 in-ring performance. Like, I gotta keep working him in the ring and keep building him up to get better in the ring to become a major star like he is in real life, that kind of thing. Like, I like the challenge of it. And maybe some people don't, and that's fine, but this is an alternate universe from real life. Like, it's not supposed to be following the real life AEW exactly. So right, so we got this here. Just had to point this out because I thought this was kind of funny when I clicked on this just now. Jon Moxley thinks the bunny's a natural talker and that she's worth giving promo time. So Moxley, a fan of the bunny's promos. There you go. NXT also had a 64 this week. They had Drake Wuertz and D.A. Brewer defeating EC3 and Johnny Gargano in a cage match in the main event. Again, I can't wait until they are no longer wrestlers in this mod because this is just weird that they're wrestling. We also had a 64. We had 336,000 viewers though, so that's good. NXT UK had a 53. Wasn't there supposed to be like other shows? I guess not. I thought there was another show we went up against. I guess it's just us in NXT. I mean, I guess technically NXT UK, but whatever. Some people hanging up their boots. Some retirements there, including Violent J. So darn, we can't bring in some of these people who have retired. Darn. But yeah, anyway. Good stuff there from us this week. Again, like I said, I'm not complaining. It was a successful Dynamite. If you go and look here, overall, it was our 11th best show of all time. So I'm not going to complain about that. Match-wise, I don't think we had anything that high on here. I guess Moxley's match over QT Marshall's 19th there. So there's that. Attendances. Yeah, it's kind of down there. Yeah, I don't know why, but for some reason it just dropped. I don't know what happened there. I gotta look into that. TV ratings though, 7th best of all time. So we're still getting better. 7th best viewers of all time. So we're getting there. We are getting there for sure. But that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate the support you continue to have for this series, for the channel, everything that I do. It's absolutely amazing. And until next time, we will see you in the next video.